A very good morning to all of you. Myself, Dr. Preeti Yadav. I am working as assistant professor in St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management, Gurugram. I am from Applied Science Department. Today I will discuss forces in nature, Newton's law, and Galilean transformation. First of all, forces in nature. There are various forces in nature that can be grouped in four categories. First is gravitational force. As we all know that the gravitational force is the force of attraction between any two bodies. This is the force of attraction between any two bodies whose masses is m1 and m2, and these two bodies are separated by a distance r. Here, this is the equation for gravitational force F, that is equal to G m1 m2 by r square. Here m1 and m2 are the masses of the two bodies, particles or bodies. R is the distance between them, and G is a universal constant, and the value of G is 6 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square per Kelvin square. This is the weakest force. Gravitational force is the weakest force of all the forces, fundamental forces, but acts over very long distances. This force always attractive in nature. There is no repulsion, therefore this force always attractive, and this force is very important in explaining the structure of the universe. Next is electromagnetic force. From the name, it is clear that it is connected with electric plus magnetic field. And we know that in electric field, there is a Coulomb force, and that force is equal to F upon me 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon me R square. Here Q1 Q2 is the charge, two charges which are at rest, and R is the distance between them, and 1 by 4 pi epsilon is a constant, and here this is a F is a Coulomb force, and that forces may be attractive or repulsive. If these two charges are positive, then there is a repulsive force. If both are negative, also there is a repulsive force. And if one positive and one negative, then there is a force of attraction between the two charges. Here, this is a positive, therefore these arrow represent the force of repulsion. Here, positive, negative, therefore there is a force of attraction. And epsilon, the value of epsilon naught is permittivity, that is equal to 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12 Coulomb square per Newton meter square. And the value of constant 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, that is equal to 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. And we know that due to electromagnetic force causes electric and magnetic field. As we have already discussed, like charges repel each other, opposite charges attract each other. There is also a force between magnets. This force, weaker than the strong nuclear force, acts over a much longer distance than the strong nuclear force. The discussed nuclear force. This force is also called Coulomb force, and it acts along the line joining the particles. It acts along the line joining these particles whose masses is Q1 and Q2. Now the next is nuclear force. Nuclear forces are the forces that act between two or more nucleons. Means that is force between proton neutron and neutron. These forces bind the proton and neutrons into the atomic nuclei. These forces exert only if interacting particles and are protons or neutrons or both. These forces are largely attractive but are short range. These forces are short ranged order. The nuclear force is about 10 million times stronger than the chemical binding that holds atoms together in molecules. Means nuclear force is stronger than the chemical bonding that holds the atoms together in a molecules. That's why nuclear reactors produced about a million times more energy. Nuclear reactors that are produced about a million times more energy per kilogram fuel as compared to chemical fuel like oil or coal, because nuclear force is stronger than the chemical binding. But this force the force are much weaker than the Coulomb force if the separation, because this is a short range order, if the separation between the particle is more than 10 to the power minus 15, if the distance between is more than, this force is weaker than the Coulomb force. If the distance is smaller, means smaller separation, the nuclear force is much stronger, means much stronger than the Coulomb force. After this, the value of nuclear forces decreases. Therefore, this force is very strong, but only a very short distance. If the distance increases, the value of nuclear force decreases. This is the, this represent neutron, this represent protons, and here represents the nuclear force that bind the nucleons, means proton and neutrons bind together each other. Therefore, this represents the nuclear force between proton and neutron. Next is weak forces or weak nuclear forces. There's another kind of forces is encountered when reaction involving between protons, electrons and neutrons takes place. Nuclear force, weak forces is the mechanism of interaction between the subatomic particles that causes radioactive decay and hence plays an essential role in nuclear fission. In this case, a neutron can change itself into a proton and simultaneously emit an electron and a particle called antineutrino. This is called beta negative decay because these forces are responsible for decays, radioactive decays. This is beta negative decay here. This is the example of cobalt 16. Here red represents the proton and the gray represents the neutron. Here this neutron itself changes into a proton because here 27, here 28 neutron, and a particle, this particle is antineutrino and also emit a electron. This is known as beta negative decay. Similarly, a proton can change into a neutron. Here a neutron can change into a proton. But if proton can change into neutron and simultaneous emitted positron, this is antineutrino, this emitted positron, this is called beta positive decay. And the forces responsible for these changes are different from gravitational force, electromagnetic force, or nuclear forces. And these forces in radioactive decay are called weak forces. These are the weak among all the forces. Now next is the Newton's law. We all know about Newton's law. There are three laws that define the motion of the particle. First law means a body must continue its state of rest or of uniform motion along a straight line unless if externally there is no applied force, externally force. For example, if car is rest, not moving, or if the car move with uniform speed, then this type of motion is known as this type of motion is known as uniform motion, and that is the example of first law. And the first law is also called law of inertia. And the second law means rate of change of momentum, linear momentum is proportional to the applied force. And that takes place in the direction of the force. It means F is equal to dp by dt. And third law means if to every action there is a equal and opposite reaction. If there are two forces F1 and F2, be the forces exerted on each other by two interacting bodies respectively, we have F12 is equal to but in opposite direction minus F21. If for example, if book is placed on a table, then book exert a force on table, then also table exert a force on book but in opposite direction. The first law defines force because implying that if there is no force, then there will be no change in velocity and acceleration. If F is equal to 0, F0 means there is no velocity. If there is no change in velocity means there is no acceleration. Therefore, first law defines the acceleration. The second law gives F from the definition, that is force is directly proportional is equal to rate of change of linear momentum. Here linear momentum is p, and we all know that p is equal to mv. Therefore d by dt of mv, if m is a constant taking out from this side and independent of velocity of particles, then f is equal to m dv by dt. And what is dv by dt? That is equal to a. Therefore f is equal to ma. This is the states. This is the second law explains the law, also called a law of motion. Again, if f is equal to 0 means a is equal to 0, because m not equal to 0, therefore a is equal to 0, and a is equal to 0 means there is a first law. Therefore first law is simple a special case of second law when there is no force. Therefore first law contained in second law. Now the next topic is reference frame or frame of reference. It is a system of coordinates like in 2D xy or 3D xyz. Just a combination in 3D space or 2 space is called frame of reference that defines the position or an event, means position of any particle or event of any particle is known as reference frame. Also from reference frame, this is a fixed frame, if we find the value of any particle, position of any particle with respect to reference frame. This is a combination of coordinates 6 axis. The types of reference frame, first is inertial frame of reference and second is non-inertial frame of reference. Inertial, from its name it is clear that here law of inertia hold. Law of inertia means there's a first law hold. If no external force is applied on a particle, then frame of reference in which the particle seems at rest, because first law is that if the particle is rest or uniform motion unless an external force is applied. Therefore, it is called inertial frame of reference in which the particle seems at rest. Also a coordinate system. This is also a coordinate system in which the law of inertia holds is called an inertial frame of reference because there is no external force applied. Therefore, F is equal to 0. And we know that F means ma Here A means double derivative of position vector d square r by dt square also equal to 0. M is not equal to 0. Therefore, d square r by dt square is equal to 0. And it means dr by dt is equal to v, that is constant, because differentiation of any quantity 0 means this is a constant quantity. Therefore, velocity is constant means particle moves in a constant velocity in absence of any external force. Therefore, Newton's first and second law are valid in inertial frame of reference. These frame of reference are stationary or move with the constant velocity. Next is non-inertial frame of reference. Non-inertial, therefore, in this frame of reference, Newton's law does not hold, means does not valid. A frame of reference in which an isolated particle experiences force. In first inertial frame, there is no force, but in that frame of reference, the particle experiences force. Is called non-inertial frame of reference. Also, frame of reference in which the particle motion seems accelerated even in the absence of external force is known as non-inertial frame of reference. Newton's laws of motion are not valid in such frame of reference. Earth is an example of non-inertial frame of reference. Now the next topic is Galilean transformation. From the name, transformation means transfer one inertial frame of reference to another inertial frame of reference. Means find the relation between one frame of reference related to the other frame of reference. If position of a particle is known, one frame of reference means let us consider one frame of reference here. Position of particle, any particle is known, then transformation equation for position with which position of particle may be known in another frame of reference are called Galilean transformation. First is for position transformation for Galilean transformation. There is two frame of reference here. XY is the X, which is fixed, whose coordinates X, Y, Z along three axes, or is the horizon. And another frame of reference, S dash. And for first, P is a point whose position vector R with respect to fixed frame, and that is S. And consider the next frame of reference, S dash, whose coordinates is X dash, Y dash, Z dash, and move with constant velocity such that all three axes X dash, Y dash, Z dash are parallel to X, Y, Z. And S dash coincide with S when time is equal to 0. Now the position vector of particle P with respect to S frame is OP. This is a position vector OP that is equal to R, and the value is because the value of position vector R in three coordinates xi, yj, zk. I, j, k are the unit vectors along the three directions. After time t, second, the position of origin of S dash means origin of S dash, origin O dash, and the position of particle in S dash frame with respect to observer O, because there is a movement, then the O dash is equal to Vt, because we know that velocity is equal to distance upon time. Here distance is particle cover this distance O dash in time t, and there's a velocity is v, therefore O dash is equal to Vt, and the position vector P with respect to S dash will be, the position vector P with respect to S dash is R dash, and the value of R dash is, coordinates is X dash along X axis, Y dash along Y dash Y axis, and Z dash along Z axis. Equation 2. From triangle O O dash P. Here OP is equal to O dash plus O dash P. Therefore, OP is R, position vector with respect position vector of point P with respect to S frame, and O dash in my this O dash is BT, and O dash P is R dash. And what is the value of R dash? That is equal to R minus T. This equation is known as Gaussian transformation equation for position vector, because there is a R dash in second frame and position vector R in first frame. Therefore, this represents the relation between position vector in in second frame to the position vector of first frame. If velocity v of s dash has component vx, vy, vz in xyz direction, then the component of v is vxi along x-axis, vyj along y-axis plus vzk along z-axis. These equation 1, 2 and 4 put in equation 3. Therefore, we get, and the value of r dash is here x dash I plus yj plus z y dash j plus z dash k, and a value of r is xi plus yj plus zk minus the component of v is there. Now comparing coefficient of I, j and k, here we get x dash is equal to x minus vxt, comparing the I coefficient, j coefficient here y dash is equal to y minus vyt, and z dash is equal to z minus vzt. This is equation 5, and this equation is called Gaussian transformations equation in 3 axes x dash, and relate the position vector or coordinates in one axis, one frame of reference with the another frame of reference. Now the important question related to today's lectures are, but first is what explain Newton's law, what is frame of reference and its types, and third is explain Gaussian transformation for position coordinates. This is all about today's lecture. Thank you.